And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. We got a black screen, but what's new? Oh, there we go. Welcome back. SATAL 2021 is here. We're with Silver Lake Blue Oyster Boys against CETAV. What an acronym that one is. CETAV. That I'm going to stumble over that multiple times in the next hour, 2 hours. It's just going to be rough. Just going to be rough, continual roughness. I don't know what CETAV stands for. I don't know. Not entirely sure. Anybody have any idea? Anybody know what that stands for? Because I have no clue what that means. CETAV? Is that really what it means? Or are you just breaking up the acronym to more acronyms? That's what Diagnosis would go with. Okay. So he thinks it's CETAV. Okay. Whatever you think. Whatever you think. But Blue Oyster Boys taking on CETAV in Silver League 4v4. It is Kataisi against Tbilisi in this 4v4 beat-em-up. Not sure how this one's going to go. I don't know very much about either of these teams. Blue Oyster Boys, if I remember correctly, won their last matchup. And CETAV, I don't think we've seen them fly before. I don't think. I'm looking at the stats. I don't see. Did Blue Oyster Boys? No, this is the first time we've seen these guys fly. No, it's not. I don't know. We're just going to say I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea. These guys may be new. Blue Oyster Boys, we have seen them fly, and they lost to the 18 Sparrows. So Blue Oyster Boys lost to the 18 Sparrows. We have not seen CETAV fly yet. So this will be interesting for how that is going to go down. Not sure. I'm not sure. Diagnosis giving out the 5 gifted subs. Thank you very much. Congrats to Quickstar, Mysterious Hansa, G.I. Joe Lounge, and Powwow. Welcome to the family. I don't remember CET yet. Navy Doc, you were right. I was just throwing gossip out there. They haven't flown yet. They have not flown yet. So I don't know what I was talking about. No idea what I was talking about. But we're going to jump to the Supercut. Kataisi against Tbilisi. Blue Oyster Boys against CETAV in this Silver League 4v4. Enjoy the Supercut. When we get back, we will be in the pit getting ready to go. Here we are in the pit looking at Blue Oyster Boys. They are sitting, I think this is at Kataisi's, definitely not Tbilisi. They are sitting at Kataisi, getting ready to roll out. And while we're looking here, let's take a look at who is flying in today's matchup. Blue Oyster Boys are being represented by Zemek, Dawi, I'm going to call him Daw, Corp, and David. So 3 F-16s and 1 J-11. We've been seeing quite a bit of the J-11 lately. And a lot of 16s. A lot of 16s, which I think is kind of interesting. Because I think this match, if I remember right, was flown on the latest version, so it was flown over the last weekend. And that means that the AMRAAM sucks ass. Like, it is terrible. AMRAAM is terrible in the current version. And I think a big part of that was the multitude of changes that DCS, ED folks were making to the AMRAAM. And, you know, when you make that many changes, things are going to happen. So I don't fault ED in the slightest. It's a growing process. It is, I think they're moving in the right direction, instituting ground clutter, INS, all that stuff. We're moving in the right direction, right? So it's just not good right now. It's not good. But we are moving in the correct direction. I'm very happy with what ED is doing. So I don't want anybody to say, ED, what are you doing? You're making my stuff suck. Dude, they are making changes, and sometimes things go backwards before they go forwards. We learn a lot more through failure, right? We learn a lot more, and I'm glad, actually, that these things kind of brought themselves out, because if it was just slightly off, nobody would have noticed. But since it was off enough that people noticed, now we can dial that even more. So I'm really happy with the progress and steps that ED is making. Really looking forward to that. But let's take a look at CETAV. So they've got 2 Jeffs, Hell Requiem, Barati. You're Burr. I don't even know how to say that. Burr, Grego, and Nike. So 2 JF-17s, an F-15, and a F-16. Now, the F-15 is not going to be able to take tanks. So if this was flown over the weekend. Now, I don't know specifically when this was flown, so we're just going to have to see. But I think the F-15 should not be taking tanks, so we're going to have to take a look. CETAV is flying very conservatively. They have a bunch of backups on the ramp, so we're not going to start the overlay quite yet. Black screen as everything gets ready to go. There we go. We're not going to start the overlay quite yet, as they do have a bunch of backups, and the overlay does not do well with all of those backups. Like Nazardo is a backup because there's no F-18 in this. Nike's flying. Toro's a backup, and Irwin is a backup. So the 2 JF-17s, there goes Grego in the F-15. So we're going to have to take a look, and I am really interested. Is Grego have tanks? Grego does not have tanks, so he's doing this correctly. So here is Grego, and he does not have tanks. So reminder, the F-15 has a bug where you can go over Mach 3 with tanks on. I think it's a drag issue. It came out with the last update. It's being worked on. F-15 is very pretty, the flying tennis court, but it cannot carry tanks. Tanks right now are banned. So they elected to take the F-15, even though the tanks are banned, which I think is interesting. I think that's very interesting that they've elected to do that. But 1 JF-17 has departed. 2nd JF-17 is going to depart. So Grego led the way for CETAV. Then Briarios. So it's Briarios is in the 2nd JF-17. Then we've got Hell Requiem in the 3rd, and Nike in the F-16. So that is who is coming out, and the other guys are disconnecting. Then we've got Zemek for Blue Oyster Boys. We're going to start bringing up the overlays. Let me fix the other overlay. Everybody disconnect yet? They have. So we're going to bring up the overlay. Overlay should be up now. You can see that Grego, who's in that F-15 on the left for CETAV, is already into his internal fuel stores because he does not have external bags because they are banned. David ingressing. Looks like Blue Oyster Boys are not climbing very aggressively, sitting about 12,000 feet above sea level, 530 knots for both these boys as they continue to come in towards the battle area. Grego, who is the lead departure for CATAV, though, is very high. So here is Grego as soon as OBS catches up. There we go. CETAV's Grego has climbed up to 40,000 feet in full blower, 290 knots. So he is cruising. Looks like both of these teams are taking very different approaches to the altitude game. And actually, if we go back and look at what CATAV is doing, I'm going to call them CETAV. That's just what we're going to do. I'm not going to break down the acronym anymore. I'm just going to call them CETAV. Briarios is flowing way south. Nike is probably going to go up the middle, and Hell Requiem is flying way north. Why pick F-16 over F-18? Is it faster? It is faster. It's a more aggressive fighter. It just really depends on your play style, Karza. The F-18 can carry many, many more weapons. So in these cases, the F-18 can carry, I'm going to turn this down a little bit, can carry 10 AMRAAMs. Most of the time you'll see guys flying with 6, usually, and some bags. But 10 AMRAAMs, so your capacity to carry weapons into the battle is much greater. It has, right now, it can beat the F-16 in the merge, in the turning fight, because of the paddle switch. Though the structural damage that ED brought in, which is awesome, by the way, I'm very happy about, does negate that a little bit. The F-18 is also much better at getting into the notch. So the F-18, with its capacity to turn, can dump speed rapidly and get into that notch very, very quickly. It also has a greater ability, I think, to bleed speed. The F-16 does not like to slow down. The F-18, on the other hand, does. And it also has a propensity, if you run out of fuel, to fall out of the sky because its surfaces don't work anymore if it runs out of fuel. They're not powered. Grego and Corp are equally burning through fuel. Yeah, Corp is going to be in that J-11. So Corp's in that J-11. Just saw a 120 come off from Grego. That is right over bullseye right about now. So here's that AMRAAM right in the middle, right there. And it is headed towards David and Corp. So Corp, who we have not looked at yet, pull him up, in the J-11, is very low. So Corp in the J-11 flying map of the Earth, very, very low, I guess hoping that people don't see him. The AMRAAM doesn't look like it's on him, I don't think. Well, it actually might be because it is bleeding a lot of altitude coming down now through 23,000 feet. You can see it on the upper left screen, now 15,000 feet. It is on Corp. Now Corp is defending, and it looks like he's line of sighted that missile as it came down. It just flew into a mountain. So Corp did a good job recognizing, hey, I've been fired at. I need to get the hell out of the way. Grego now has turned around, and the back three, so that staggered departure that CETAV did was in a way to get them into this wall formation. So Nike departed last. He came in right up the middle. He didn't have to turn, so they threw him in last. Briarios took off second, Hell Requiem third, and they got into this wall formation. So I like the formation by them. Corp now staying in the valleys. He's in this valley up here, this water valley. Can we see that on his screen? Yeah, there's a little river down below him, so he's trying to make something happen there. David, meanwhile, is leading the way for Blue Oyster Boys. So David, 10,000 feet, Mach 1. Not really a lot of altitude coming from the front runners for Blue Oyster Boys. 5,000 feet for Corp. He's going to be at virtually map of the Earth, showing you both of them here. And David's at 10,000 feet, just over, a little bit over the treetops. We got a lot of detail down there, so he's not very high. Zemek and his wingman, though, 28 and 27,000 feet. Now, multiple 120s out from Nike, so we're going to ride along with one of those. Here is the lead 120 from Nike's aircraft. That one looks like it's coming in onto either David or Corp. Corp has ascended up to 11,000 feet, but that's probably just to get him up over a mountain. The other AMRAAM that Nike launched, I think, is on Zemek, and here is that one that he has launched, and it is now, we just heard that song. Now we've got an SD-10 coming from Briarios down to the south from one of the JF-17s, and that is going to be on DAW. DAW is going to need to defend. Missiles up at 30,000 feet, Mach 2.7. That could be a dangerous missile if he's not able to notch it. Now, he does have the altitude advantage. He's 5,000 feet below it. It's going to be on his right side. There it is, and it just doesn't have the juice to come through it. I think he was actually able to notch that as it flies behind his aircraft. DAW, staying hot, decides, hey, I don't need to turn around to get away from this SD-10. Stays hot. I like that decision, and continues flying. Now, DAW unleashes a 120. That's going to be at Hell Requiem, and Hell Requiem has launched an SD-10. And I think this is an exchange of munitions between DAW and Hell Requiem as this SD-10 comes down from 31,000 feet down onto DAW. DAW at 10,000 feet. 5 miles away from the SD-10 is DAW's aircraft. 120 off from Zemek onto Hell Requiem. And let's move over to look at what Hell Requiem's got going on. Here's Hell Requiem as he dives away. The SD-10, we're going to go back and take a look at it. It's getting really close and just barely misses DAW's aircraft. So that thing got really close, butt pucker close on DAW's, but DAW's able to get away from it. Just didn't have the gusto, that SD-10, to be able to catch his aircraft, and he's able to get away. So really lucky by DAW That thing was close enough virtually to scrape the paint off of Daw's aircraft. Great shot by Hell Requiem, but Daw, trusting his instincts, not diving or moving away, staying hot. Man's got some balls. He needs another aircraft just to carry his balls into this fight. Grego now recommitting down here, and it looks like from that recommit he's going straight into the split S as David launches 120 on him north to south. Grego is at Mach 1.2, diving down away from that 120, got the missile warning, said, I want nothing to do with that as I am very high. I need to get the hell out of here. And Corp, we need to keep an eye on Corp because he's already down below half fuel. Now, the flanker does carry a lot of gas, so I'm not too worried about that situation. The flanker actually wants to be pretty light as things get in here close, because if it's too heavy at all, you'll rip vertical stabs off, your wings off, just not a good time. You need those flight surfaces to be able to be efficient in the fight. And if you don't have them, well, you're probably going to die because you're not flying anymore. And the ground, seeing as it's undefeated, it's going to kill you. So David now launching down onto Briarios. 120 out from Nike onto David. We're going to see how David's going to defend this 120. Moving over to him. David low, 7,000 feet. Nike's 120 coming in on his left side from altitude 3 miles away. There it is up above him. Now we've got a 120 coming in on Nike from Dawes. And Nike needs to be careful. Here he is getting caught a little bit high. He may get caught with his pants around his ankles. Missiles 1.5 miles away. Is this a face mile moment? I think it is. Half mile. Here it comes. Pulls up and no. Flies underneath his aircraft. I got excited for nothing as that missile just didn't have what it took to pull up at the last minute from Dawes. But Dawes, being the aggressive pilot that he is, has immediately recommitted back into Nike. And Nike is 4 miles in front of him. Nike gets launched on again from Dawes. He's in a bank turn. I don't know that he knows this missile's coming for him. There it is. Where is it? 2.5 miles away. It's got some juice. 2 miles. 1.5 miles. He's getting the missile warning now. 1 mile. This one may be it, as he's not being aggressive. His defense. And there it is. Nike is the first casualty. He goes down. Nike is the first man to lose it here in this fight. Let's take a look at how this all looks. Zemek now launching onto Hell Requiem. Dawes, Corp, and David sitting here in the middle. Hell Requiem, Grego, and Briarios are the only 3 remaining in this 4v4 for CETAV. So let's move over and look back at Dawes, as he's probably the guy to watch with his aggressive maneuvering for Blue Oyster Boys. Coming now in on Briarios. ET, I think this is going to be on Briarios. Let's take a look. It's an ET. No, it's on Grego. So we're going to move up and look at Grego because this is a low to high ET. Can we see that ET? I don't see it yet, but if he doesn't do something and he doesn't do it quickly, he's going to get the unannounced face smile, and the unseen facials are something you never want to see, and he is not dead yet because I think we've got a little bit of, oh, why is that so slow? Hold on. Here it comes. Boom! And there goes Grego as we get things back in order. He just didn't have... We didn't have the camera synced up because he was at half speed for whatever reason. We've got him synced up now. So the ET slams into Grego's aircraft. Hell Requiem able to take down Zemek simultaneously to Grego going down. Or it's actually Briarios. So Briarios goes down simultaneously to that shot. He gets removed. And now we've got Hell Requiem. Hell Requiem is the only one left. He's coming in against Zemek. They're exchanging SD-10s and 120s. So let's take a look at Zemek and Hell Requiem up here to the north. Oh, we can actually see this. Okay, so I have a camera that's behind. So we can actually see Briarios get bent over here. So here is Briarios. 120 coming in from the left, and he just tries to notch it. Doesn't work for him. Gets taken down. I mean, not much he could have done there. Probably needed to dive. Trying to line aside it, but didn't notch efficiently enough. And because of that, gets shmammered all over the Georgian countryside. So just getting this stuff synced up. Don't know why these fell out of sync, but here we go. Come on now. Missile coming in on Zemek. SD-10 plows into Zemek. And Hell Requiem stays alive. So he is still up. He's got some distance between him and his other adversaries. He's low, but he has no SD-10s left on his jet. So Dawes and Corp are trying to press him. And here they are, Dawes and Corp. Dawes has got plenty of missiles left. He's got 2 120s. Corp has everything. He's got all kinds of stuff left. But Hell Requiem has no SD-10s left. So he's going to be possibly in a bad place because he doesn't have any long sticks. He doesn't have anything to be able to reach out and touch his enemy. Dawes seems to see Hell Requiem here as he's put his nose on to Hell Requiem. Hell Requiem trying to make something happen, staying low. 8 miles away, 120 from Dawes, high to low from about 8 miles. We can see the missile trail there on Hell Requiem's aircraft. 3 miles, 2.5 now. Hell Requiem trying to defend against this. Missiles trying to run him down. Missiles under Mach 2. Still trying to turn with him. It's got a lot of work to do still to try and contact Hell Requiem's jet. Flying formation with him as that 120 seems to have lost its way and lost Hell Requiem in the process. David now is the close contact to Hell Requiem. Are we able to padlock him? No. So David is here. Going back to TriView so we can keep track of everybody. Corp is way up to the north, so we're going to move Corp's aircraft to Dawes. And David now launches this 120 up at Hell Requiem. Hell Requiem responds with a PL-5, but that's not going to do much for 5 miles. Here comes the 120, 2.5 miles, 1 mile. Get below the Hail Brother. And he does. Great defensive decision by Hell Requiem there. He got away from that 120. And he is still outside of 5 miles. And I pushed the wrong button there. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We got to bring him back up. There we go. Pushed the wrong button. So he's still outside of 5 miles. He's got Dawes creeping in behind him. There is Dawes. Dawes trying to make something happen. Dawes coming in. I don't know that Dawes has any weapons left. He's going to have to try and go for the guns kill. Hell Requiem recognizes that he's got somebody on his 6. David now coming in. Missile out from Corp. And it looks like an ER. That got line of sighted, so we're going to move up to Corp and actually put Hell Requiem. There we go, so we can see it from both perspectives. Hell Requiem looking at Corp, who's behind the hill. Hell Requiem looking at Dawes, and Dawes looking at Hell Requiem. So we might have a 4-man merge coming up here rather soon. Does Hell Requiem have a missile left on his jet? It would be on his right wingtip. It's going to be below our sight, so we can't see it right now. Corp breaks away. David now coming in and trying to make something happen here. David right on the nose of Hell Requiem. Hell Requiem responds with a PL-5. 120, 1 mile, half mile. This is it for Hell Requiem as he gets slammed. Ballistic Enema. It takes him out, and that is it. Great ending to that fight. Hell Requiem tries to hold his own, but can't against the 3-ship of Blue Oyster Boys. They finally are able to make it happen, and as Lucas says, that RWR was probably going ham at the latter stages of that round. 3 aircraft simultaneously sorting you is never something you want to be able to see. David gets 2 kills, Daw with 1, Corp with 1, Hell Requiem with 1. Blue Oyster Boys come out with 3 aircraft remaining. Let's take a look at the TAC view and see how this one got down. So things start very aggressive, and they just slowly deteriorate for CETAV. First kill is Dawes on a Nike. Dawes was hugely aggressive during this match. Hugely aggressive. Just defeats something, immediately recommits. Defeats something, comes right back in. And Nike defeats that, kind of takes the same thing, but he's tunnel visioned on David, maybe doing an over-reliance on the AWACS, gets the missile warning or the nail from Dawes too late, and he's crap out of luck. He is up that creek we all know without a paddle, gets obliterated, and he is the first casualty for CETAV, followed by Corp taking down Grego with the unseen ET and the unseen facial. It's a bad time. Grego takes it, says, I can't do it anymore, and ends it. 120 then follows immediately on Briarios, and that sends us to the end. So everybody died. 4 kills because Hell Requiem took down one in 1 minute. 60 seconds. 4 kills. So Hell Requiem able to take down Zemek, but he finds himself with no long sticks. And without those SD-10s, he can't do much. There were a couple situations where he launched those PL5s, right? Here was one of them, where if this was an SD-10 onto David, he probably could have killed him. But because he was down to PL5s, didn't have a chance. So that could have been 1 kill. This could have been another kill on Hell Requiem. Save that PL5. He launched another PL5 right before he went down to David here. That was the second one where David in that scenario could have already been dead. But nope, didn't have the long stick. PL5's not going to do it in that situation, and that spells the end for CETAV. So let's take a look at the supercut again when we get back. Round 2, Blue Oyster Boys, CETAV, David and Zemek after their first round convincing win over CETAV. They have reverse sides. They are at Tbilisi, while CETAV is at Kutaisi. So again, reminder who these guys are flying, what team, or who is representing these teams. Blue Oyster Boys being represented by Zemek, Dawes, Corp, and David. Meanwhile, CETAV, Hell Requiem, Briarios, Grego, and Nike. So much more of a hodgepodge of aircraft coming from CETAV as we have from Blue Oyster Boys. Blue Oyster Boys are going to have the SA advantage with the peer-to-peer contributions from those 3 F-16s. The J-11 is going to kind of be on its own in this situation because it's not a contributor to any of this. So what do you guys think is going to happen here? Can we have flanker takeoff noises? Sure. We can watch the flanker take off. Let me find him on camera. There's that flanker. We can ride along with the flanker. But how do you guys think this one's going to go? We had a convincing win by Blue Oyster Boys here in round 1. Are we going to see another convincing win for them here in round 2? I always say, team that won the last match is at a big advantage going into round 2. Or if you won round 2 going into round 3. You've got the morale. You've got the confidence. It's your match to lose. How do you tell the flanker from the J-11? There's not really many differences aside from the liveries that you see on the J-11 in this one. And the J-11 and RSIM can carry some R-77s. I think there's like some antenna differences on the back, but I don't really know. Chat's going to know more about that than I will. So I'm not entirely sure what the overall differences are between both of those aircraft. Raptor Dad says no physical difference. I want to say there was some antenna that was different, but I don't know. Some of the pivot tubes and front landing gear lights are slightly different. That's what I thought. I thought there was some things sticking off the aircraft that were different. Oh, yeah. Speed Demon, there will definitely be some cockpit differences. Chinese cockpit labels. All right. So, J-11 takeoff noises. Okay. The J-11 does sound good. I love it. But these guys are now ingressing towards the AO. Blue Oyster Boys up 1-0, which also means we can fix the labels here. So let's bring our labels up. There we go. Labels are ready to rock and roll. Attack view overlay, check. Immersion level off the charts. CETAV's got a lot of work to do if they want to make something happen here in round 2. Hell Requiem? He had a lot of opportunities. Given if he conserved his weapons. Him running out of SD-10s was the difference between him possibly winning in a 1v3 and him getting schmammered all over the place. Just whap, whap, whap. Conserve your weapons. Don't take these long shots and like, oh my God, I hope I kill him. Let's hope if I get lucky. In competitive stage, it's not going to happen. It's just not. It's not going to happen. You cannot play like that. I'm not saying that's what they did, but you got to wait. Wait. Conserve your weapons until you're pretty sure you're going to get a kill. Or the only time you launch in a situation, in my opinion, when you're almost guaranteed to not get a kill, is when you're trying to get your opponent to do something. When you are trying to force your opponent to defend, to stay cold, to go cold into one of your friendlies, you're trying to dictate the actions that an enemy pilot will make. That is a time where you can shoot when you're pretty sure you're not going to get a kill. Another reason would be trying to force somebody down from altitude, because getting stuck under somebody that has altitude, he can launch from further away, he can defend from further away, his energy state's going to be higher than yours, and his SA picture is going to be higher than yours. So forcing somebody down from altitude is also going to be one of those times where you launch where you're pretty sure you're not going to get a kill. How do you spell schmammered? Well, shawamember, not like that. Definitely not like that. But those are the cases where I would launch out of perimeter. Another one may be if you've got a sneaky aim 9 and you're trying to launch and hit somebody right in the face, right? The aim 9's early. Sometimes you can get lucky, and I may advocate for people to launch one of those sneaky deaky aim 9s and hope that you're going to hit somebody upside the head. How can one make part in DCS competitive scenario? Well, join our Discord. I would highly suggest to join one of the teams that are competing, or start your own team and go from there. But I would join the DCS World Events Discord for sure. I think that is the mecca for competitive DCS, in my opinion, grader-wise. That's where I would get started. And a link to that Discord should be down below. Or you can do !Discord and it will tell you. So CETAV's Nike is leading the way for CETAV in his F-16. He's cruising at 36,000 feet, 351 knots. Head on against Bob's David. I love that name. Blue Oyster Boys. Can one of you guys, if you're in chat, enlighten me on how this name came to be? Where did Blue Oyster Boys come from? We had a few sneaky aim 9 shots yesterday. We did. And the aim 9's cutting a slice for itself with how bad the 120 is lately. Grego nearly 45,000 feet. Yeah, he is. Let's take a look at Grego. So Grego is right here, 45,000 feet, 250 knots. Grego needs to be careful that he's not too slow. If you're this fast, sometimes people get into a situation where they're really high and they're like, oh, I'm really high, I'm okay. But then they're really, really slow. And their ability to do anything is gone because they're not fast enough to transition that altitude and energy quickly enough to get away from incoming threats. So I'd like to see him. Is he over Mach 1? He is over Mach 1. So Grego's doing pretty well. He's not in too terrible a position. He launched an AMRAAM from 45,000 feet. You can see that it's at Mach 3.5 as it comes in against I don't know who. Probably onto either the 2-ship or Dawes and Zemek is where it looks like it's going. He is doing a crank and dive. I like that. He's accelerating Mach 1.3. He's recognized that, hey, there's somebody probably close to me on data link. Well, he doesn't have data link, but AWACS is probably telling him, I've got somebody decently close to me. I need to try and think ahead of my aircraft and get away from something that may be a possible threat. So this 120 that he launched is on Dawes. So here's Dawes now defending. And Dawes is defending late. That 120, 35,000 feet Mach 2, but it's going to bleed energy rapidly. Oh, it went for Zemek. So it was on Dawes and then went for Zemek. And they are very lucky that it did that, because if it didn't do that, one of them was going to die. But it changed targets for some reason. I don't know. Takasumu, I have no idea what that missile just did, but it caused it to not do anything is what ended up happening. So now we've got a 120 out from David onto Hell Requiem up here to the north. Here is Hell Requiem diving, trying to get away from this incoming threat. It's a 120. He did launch an SD-10. It's not tracking David. Hell Requiem is at Mach 1.2, diving away from this 120. There's the 120, 1.5 miles away. It's not going to have enough energy to be able to reach out and grab Hell Requiem in the no-no spot. Now we've got Briarios launching the 120, or excuse me, SD-10 out onto Corp. Corp is going to be low. Corp is flying map of the Earth. He's still got 2 ERs, 2 77s, 2 ETs, and 4 73s left on his jet. Briarios, though, has this 120 coming for him. Is it on him? These guys are high. These guys are very high, and I think they're getting lucky that these missiles just don't have quite what it takes to grab them. Or they're defending properly, one or the other. I'm going to give them credit and say they're defending properly. But Briarios' missile was very close to impacting him, defends at the right moment, and he's able to get away from him. Look how aggressive David and Dawes are being. Corp and Zemek now recommitting. Something is going to happen here rather soon. We've now got David coming in against Hell Requiem. David in the F-16 trying to make something happen against Hell Requiem. Hell Requiem's going to be at his 2 o'clock low. 7,000 hits 4,000. Dawes puts a 120 out onto Hell Requiem. I actually like this shot. Dawes is forcing Hell Requiem defensive, allowing his wingman of David to close. Briarios, meanwhile, is launching an SD-10. Looks like that's going to be onto Corp. Can we see that missile? There goes the SD-10, but we're going to immediately go back to David up here as they run down Hell Requiem up to the north. David, Mach 1. Hell Requiem, Mach 1. Trying to make something happen there. Now, on camera 2, we're going to go back to Briarios and Zemek as they are getting closer. SD-10 and 120 is being exchanged between these two. SD-10, Zemek looks like he's getting into a notch position. SD-10's 2.5 miles away. We're going to go to 1 and 3 so we can see both of these. Is that right? Yeah, no. 2, there we go. So now we've got them on split screen. So Zemek is defending the SD-10. David trying to run down Hell Requiem, and now we've got Grego in the F-15 launching onto David, and then immediately turns away. So we're going to come in onto Grego as he dives away, but we're sticking with David up here to the north as he continues to try to run down Hell Requiem. Hell Requiem, I think, is in deep, deep doo-doo as he continues to try and run away. So 1 and 3 so we can see Hell Requiem's position as he continues to run from David. David is a man on a mission up here to the north. And Hell Requiem has committed into David. 120 now out from him, from David, and I think it's going to make it over the hill. Hell Requiem committing into this. He's going to defend too late. Hell Requiem, what are you doing? No! And Hell Requiem gets schmammered by the incoming 120 from David. And the next one we need to pay attention to after this pause is going to be an incursion coming between Dawes and Briarios. Did I miss that one? I think so. I think Dawes just took down Briarios. So let's look here. We'll go to TAC view and take a look at what's going on. Oh, we can actually see it. One of the cameras is behind. Nice. All right. So Briarios is right here looking at the camera, and we're going to pick up with him. Getting launched on by this 120 from Dawes, and he again tries to do this like haphazard defensive maneuver. You guys didn't see that because I'm a loser. I'm a loser, baby. So why don't you kill me? Because you guys missed that. I had it, I played it, and then it didn't work. Because now you're looking at a dead Briarios. Because I don't know what I'm doing in this situation. Anyhow, he just got spanked by a 120 from Dawes in that situation. And now we've got Nike and Zemek. So that's where we're going to pick up Nike and Zemek, putting them on the padlock views. Right there. That's where we're going to continue. Here we go. Nike and Zemek in the split screen. These guys are decently close. So Briarios and Hell Requiem have gone down. Now we've got Dawes merging with Grego. There's Grego over to the right. So we're going to go to 3 view so we can see everybody. Zemek trying to run down Nike. Lots of stuff going on right now. Lots of countermeasures coming out from everybody. Missile out on a Nike who's on the top right screen. Is he going to get away from it? No, that missile just skimmed a treetop, plowed into Nike, and Nike is dead. So Grego is the only one left. Grego and his F-15, only man still standing. Everyone's still cold to him. He's now breaking away. Zemek has got a missile coming for him. He's recommitting into the face of it. What a lucky bastard. That missile was very close, and the recommit just couldn't get him. Now we've got multiple 120s coming up onto a northern target. He's going into a notch 125 miles away from Grego, and that's going to be coming from David up to the north. Grego, I think, is going to be able to line of sight this, but he's going to pop up on the other side of the hill. You may be recommitting into the face of the missile. Grego now gets very lucky, committing into the face of a missile that was going to see him coming over the top of the hill. He's now committing in onto David. Grego's starting to run out of fuel. He's got enough left to be aggressive. Now 120 coming from behind from Zemek. And Zemek is trying to run him down, putting this on split screen. So Grego trying to run away from Zemek and Dawes. We'll actually go to tri-view so we can see everybody. So Zemek and Dawes trying to run down Grego. And they've got the turn advantage. They still see him. Missile coming from one of these two. Gun, as Grego just launched his last 120. Missile, I think, aim 120, smacks Grego in the face. And an aim 9, 120, whatever it was, flies harmlessly past Dawes and Zemek. And it may be on Corp. Does Corp know that's coming? Corp, 120. Nope, doesn't care. Look at the balls on this guy. Just no cares in the world. Corp flies right by that missile. And Prenov says this might be a short match. Indeed it is, because it is over. Blue Oyster boys take this one in 2 rounds. Dominance being shown by them. Dominance being showcased by the Bobs here in round 2, not losing a single pilot. Hell Requiem succumbs to David. David was just a man on a mission. Runs down Hell Requiem. Hell Requiem has no mutual support. Grego tries to come in and then gets out of the way. I like that Dawes broke off from Hell Requiem and came onto Grego. We'd like to see an earlier launch from Dawes to force Grego off. That would have been better. But David, I think, recognizes, hey, I don't need to worry about this 120. I can just outrun it. Does exactly that. Outruns it. Hell Requiem recommits into the face of an oncoming bandit. Guys, you're probably going to die in this situation. But Hell Requiem tried. He was so isolated, there wasn't much more he can do. Gets taken down. David gets credited with a kill. Simultaneously to that, Dawes takes down Briarios in a medium-range 120 shot. Briarios just gets into a haphazard notch. Doesn't commit fully to it. 120 clips his wings off. Those are critical for sustained flight. So Dawes gets the second kill. Zemek then takes down Nike on a kind of sort of merge, sort of not. And then Grego succumbs to Dawes after the chase. And a lot of these kills are just coming from trying or half-assed recommits from the bandits into already hot contacts. You cannot do this. If the guy sees you and you recommit like this, you are going to die. And every time this happened in this fight, that person that recommitted, well, guess what? They died. So Grego gets taken down by Dawes, possibly Zemek. Lots of things happen there, but he's dead. Doesn't matter, and that is it. Bob boys take it in 2 over CETAV. And that brings us to the end, ladies and gentlemen. Blue Oyster Boys taking on CETAV, take it in 2. Who is flying tomorrow? It is going to be VTAF against ECV 56 in a Gold League 4v4. So that's our match for tomorrow. VTAF against ECV 56. VTAF is new. ECV 56 is not. So be ready for that one. Just one match tomorrow. And then Friday, we got a double. Number 15 Battle Axe is taking on 343rd in Diamond League 4v4. And then 404th taking on Team Whatafuck and Gold League 6v6. And that'll round out the week. So guys, hopefully you enjoyed today's matchup. I will see you all tomorrow, 1600 Zulu. Be watching on Twitter for that supercut to drop. Enjoy your day. Until next time, stay safe in those virtual skies. And have a good one. See you guys later.